Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity with me, Cornish-Knight, as we press on with the task at hand. Now, Gwen Ravenheart is getting a bit tired of her omnipotent god who's looking over her soda getting her killed all the time, so let's try and sort that, shall we? Now, we can't steal anything out in here without being noticed.
Nice and slow.
Yeah, we're noticed. Right. So, at the moment, I don't think my characters are tough enough to complete the mushroom job that we need to do. Minimize to wish to explore the world with other characters' portrait visible. Interesting. But, as I said, I don't think we can... Because these are the stories that we have. The journal. We've got Visions of Whispers, Find a Dwarf Woman. In my dreams I heard a message from a dead woman hanging from the trees that stand in the centre of Gilded Vale. It may be nothing more than a dream, but there are strange realism to it. I need to return and then see for myself whether there was anything to it. My condition has not lifted and I am not sleeping well. Right, there's that one, Against the Grain, which we can do. But I'm going to go and do the Vision of Whispers and push the main story on, because Gwen is probably getting sick and tired of all these nightmares. I also want to check out what's in here. Papa says the temple is cursed as a child as you run past the whispering staircase. Well, the fact that it's being creepy is probably a good sign. There's the inn. I'm going to sleep until midnight and then go and talk to this tree. The level of difficulty influences what creatures combat. Only Path of Damnation and high level content scaling contain more creatures. Will contain... That's not contain more creatures, to contain creatures with stat differences.
Hello.
I'd like a room, please. Lovely glowing fire. I'm really going to have a nice night. We're outside in the gloom. Let's go and talk to this dead person hanging from a tree. Yep. Man, that's not creepy at all. Cadrel de Baranzi. Cadrel de Baranzi, the squat, distended body of the elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked that sags at the tag of her neck of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze sifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel something you could reach out and touch, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has not worldly dimension. Reach out for the woman, and Gwen will sort of pause, then she'll reach her hand out and just poke the oar with a finger. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, and focus on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out towards the hanged woman, perceiving all that lies beyond you and her with a small and familiar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt of your mind, a ringing electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and you feel yourself being pulled down into some deep consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanged woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in milky fog, her body still swaying in the wind. You no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in the misty void. The woman gives you a small nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Her eyes squints as she peers down at you. Gwen sort of takes a step back. How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think think it is a very good choice.
She gives you a motherly smile. I think I survived the Bearwick. Do you know why that would be? Inquires Gwen uneasily.
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing.
Caldera appraises you. Caldera appraises you with her scholarly interest for a moment before resuming her cheerful demeanour.
Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me now.
She smiles sadly at the thought. You say our souls break apart over time?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again. But less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
She clicks her tongue in frustration. Am I imagining this? Inquires Gwen.
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
She clicks her tongue and shakes her head as she considers the implications for a moment, after looking down at her limp body. I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there.
She nods.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
Gwen raises an eyebrow. What's a watcher? She inquires.
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, no, not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair. And here we are, visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
Well, that's not creepy at all.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well, a wonder.
What do you mean when all goes well? There's a note of nervousness in Gwen's tone.
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning off a tuft of loose whiskers that sprout from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
I want to know something about you, inquires Gwen before she leaves.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
She shakes her head in protest. Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
She breathes a small sigh, sending a small beetle skittling from one side of her cheek. What happened to you? She laughs, a raspy, chokehold cackle, escaping from rows of butterfly yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with spasms. She's seeing you blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer.
God, she's creepy.
Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife. See why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months. Looked high and low for impurities. Tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations. Miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other. Turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had other questions, inquires Gwen.
Of course, dear.
Not being able to think of any, Gwen sort of nods her head stiffly, then farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldera closes her eyes and her head slumps forward onto the noose, and your shrining seems to bleed into your vision for some unknown place of waiting. Gwen Raven has granted the Crucible of the Soul. Whatever that is. It's an ability? Crucible of the Soul. Area of effect, 1.48 meter radius. Foe AoE effect, drains 11.5 burn damage versus endurance. The Watcher's unveils the vital essence of his or her enemies, gaining endurance in the process. Yeah, cool. Once per rest, okay. And our journal has been updated. The spirits of Calder de Baranzi, one of Lord Roderick's unfortunate victims, has directed me towards Cad Noir, where I find a man named Malworld. Caldera has informed me that I've become something known as a Watcher, and that Malworld is a Watcher as well. Perhaps he can tell me more about what's happening to me. Cad Noir is southeast of Gilded Vale, past the Black Meadow. I will have to travel there if I want to speak to Malworld. Okay.
Just say the word.
17 and a half.
Adar. The smell of pike smoke at once earthy and sweet winds in through your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origins, where you find a broad man with straw-coloured hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held in his lips with one meaty hand. He looks at you directly in the eye, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smile.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry? Questions Gwen as he raises an eyebrow in mild confusion.
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Alof frowns. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
He looks you up and down and grimaces. What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman? He looks at you for a moment, his brow arts, his smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible, I do not drool half as much, replies Gwen. Ha, so you're already familiar. Still, you'll have to forgive my curiosity. Around here we prefer to turn a blind eye to our dead. I've been out of sorts lately, you reply grumpily. Cause? We all got one bad days when we stand perfectly still and stare at corpses for a while without blinking. He winks. Gwen sort of pauses and she thinks for a second. Do you know what a Watcher is? She snaps.
Careful, friend. Let's not use that word round here. There'd be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come to these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
You think you're going to be hanged? You snort.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
For war? The Saints' War. Only one in my lifetime. Fella decided he is a living incarnation of Eophas, the overthrows Red Saras, marched on Deerwood, so we gave him the Deerwood hello. What's a Deerwood hello?
We blew him up.
He smiles at this, but the smile of one recounting a joke for effect rather than enjoyment. Who is Eophas? God of rebirth and redemption, formerly anyhow. Maybe they'll call him something different when where you're from. I had other questions. I've got time. He snorts. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Redrick sent men down here the other day, said they had it on good authority someone in town was working with Corliss-Knight, plotting Roderick's overthrow. Said if they didn't come forward right then and there, they'll hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward, so Swin, that's my headman. Swithin, that's my headman. He steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree, bound to happen sooner or later, if not for plotting against Roderick, then protecting me. What does this town have against you? You inquire as you lean on your sword.
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Icewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, and then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
He looks up at the tree, his eyes trailing one of the swinging bodies. If Ufur glances at you and lowers his voice, you can see why I was eager to leave. Who's Kolsik? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now, probably, but he will be until they catch him. If you were next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? You snort. He gives a half smile, drinking mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out, just haven't figured where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that I don't think Wyden's legacy started with Widwen. We could travel together, if you want. Where are you headed? He inquires. Some place called Cad Noir. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before.
Something kindles in Edir's eyes and the vigour of purpose finds its way into his voice.
Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger. And a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
He scratches his beard absently with a callous thumb. That's a fine reason if I ever heard one, adds Alof.
Alright then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
He glances briefly at the tree. He tilts his head forward and gives a pointed look. So we got a new quest. Against the grain. Scattered faith. Edir has the right to travel with me, agreed to travel with me. He seems to have some questions that he thought the Watcher might be able to answer. Bring Edric to speak of Merlewold. After telling Edir that I was heading to Cad Noir to see its lord, an old Watcher named Merlewold, he expresses that there's things that he'd like to ask. Okay, so we got him. So what does he look like? Okay. He's got Saint's armour. Edir wore this armour during his time in the Saints' War. Its dark colouring is unusual in its power, for he admits that the armour has put him from the brink of death on several occasions. He claims that no one has ever yet handled the armour, and how it has become enchanted is a mystery even to him. Okay. He gets second chance on unconscious, that's good to know. So what's he got? He's got a sabre. His accuracy goes down, but he grants bash. He's got 2 levels enchantment. The shield appears to have been once quite literally comprised of the front of a ladder. It still has a pull ring and metal crossband reinforcing its surface, giving it considerable heft when swung at an opponent. Despite its humble origins, the nicks and gouges on the seared surface suggests it could seen more than a few battles in its time and provided a sturdy defence, where it leaves a harrowing prospect that it may be a larder somewhere lying undefended. Right, we'll give him that. We'll give you the crossbow as well, because there's more penetrating power. Right. Need to buy some provisions for him, I think. Or at least just check the larder. I mean, we give him a great weapon, but I want to have someone who's more tanky. Let's give him a mailed coif. Right. Ale. Yeah, he can have the ale. Goldroot Chew is not great. Give him a post in the minor regeneration as well. Right. Okie dokie. So what abilities does he have? Defender. This mode adopts a more conservative combat strategy, concentrating on locking down enemies that stray too close, but the fighter increases his or her number of engagement targets to 3, but at the expense of deflection. Nah, I'm not a fan of that. He's got knockdown. We can talk to them. Good to see. Right.
Yeah.
So we've got 4 people. Let's go this way. Let's see if that's enough people to do the mushroom mission. See, we can go down into the ruins as well. Can we make anything yet? Can't make any food. That's Adric's aim. I'm not really bothered by that. We'll look against the elements. That's elemental resistance draft. Creates a mystic shield around its creator, surfing them with bonuses to burn, freeze. Yeah, so basically helps us do more elemental damage. No, we can learn more recipes. By the way, this isn't the limit to the recipes. It's just this is just the amount of stuff we know. And some we can make scrolls as well, which is cool. Right. Should really try and get the mushroom job done if I can. Got to pick up the pace slightly. Esterwood. Have been there. Let's go to more Magram's Fork. Okay, so now I always get... Right, let's go. Back to normal speed. So I haven't explored it all. Wait, there's someone there on the map? There's a fire, I don't remember him being here before.
Saw you in the flames.
Durancy, squatting at the base of the statue, is an incredibly ugly man with bulging red cheeks raked with pox scars and a saggy beard. He is sweating as if he has a fever, but his breathing is measured and steady, like a slow push of a blacksmith's bellows, but that comparison feels strange and unwelcome. The next comparison, probably sparked by his grin, is that of a bear trap, and then out of nowhere there is a hint of alchemical fire that fades almost as soon as you identify the smell.
Come to pray at the statue.
The question marked mark is barely there. As the man makes a statement, the statue takes on a reddish cast as if one is holding a torch to it, then slowly blossoms into wavering flames. The man doesn't turn as statue blossoms into fire.
The others are welcome, but it's best if just you and I trade words, and your shadows stay quiet. Hands off their weapons, both arcane and steel. It's only you I want to trade words with anyway.
His face tenses with his iron bear-trap smile ready to spring.
I swear before the whore that is Margaret, no harm will come to you in her shadow. If that's enough of a promise for you. If not...
The staff rests easily in his hand if it wasn't there a moment ago. You focus your gaze on the staff. The staff looks thin, stout and blackened ash, once burned by a terrible fire. Beneath the ash, the lines of the wood bear shapes and patterns, and there is certainly the staff was once something far more dangerous, but not now. You look up to see the man watching you study the staff. As his gaze meets yours, he nods with humble smile. Right. Examine the statue. The wavering firelight from the statue gives off no heat, so much so you wonder if there's some trick of the mind. The ugly man before you doesn't seem to notice it or feel it, although the scene on his brow is still present as if he's burning up from the inside. We will study the man as well. The sudden wavering frame from the statue of Margan casts some more light on his features. The man's robes are dirty, stained with grease, and there are other marks of the road. The hems of his robe, including his sleeves, are burned at the edges as if he has walked a great distance across a fire, then reached into the flames with his bare hands to pull something out. But while his hands are thick and callous, he bears no burn or scorch mark. A strange choice of companions, you declare. Stone seems cold comfort. The man smiles slightly at the words and nods, never taking his eyes off you. I could do better, though the road holds little else. His eyes run the length of your frame, and then he follows it with a sneer. Until now. Ugh.
The world holds many whores we worship. Respect comes with honest titles. I bet even you have gone against instinct in exchange for a little copper. Or paid for such in countless ways.
Ugh.
But if I give offense, if words are all that are left to a man, then why in the Deerwood of all places he should have leave to speak them?
The man's face cracks and a smile, with teeth almost there. I don't catch your name or what you wanted to speak to me with.
I didn't give it. You probably find names as useless as I do. The names that litter this world like debris are hard enough to wrap around the tongue. And what do they matter?
His hands tighten around the staff.
It's what's beneath the skin and the letters I care about. What burns within. It's more important to me you're a watcher than whatever culture or accent decorates your letters like awkward crowns. Take pride in your actions, not where you hail from. Or how your name rolls off whatever liar's tongue coats it now.
For a moment there's the embers settle.
If you need a title to hang on me to match your own, Watcher, then call me Durance. And as you observe souls, I test them.
How do you know that I am a watcher, you declare, taking a step forward. Durance shakes his head, and his hands curl tightly on his staff. I can see the questions bubbling up. Let's burn them away one by one.
I am a missionary. I walk this diseased nation with its heathen, its people so careless with the spirits of others and their own, watchers among them. Yes, I know you for what you are, and your name doesn't interest me. Names are for honest folk, and you are a crack that shines light from another place. We're meant to travel together, you and I. Saw you in the flames. Not your face, but that soul of yours. All tightened up, like a huntsman's knot.
He grunts again, his eyes narrowing. And what is it that you think you can offer me?
There's things we can teach each other. If you're in need of answers to your mantle of questions. I don't force my words on anyone other than you. I don't care who walks with you or what their mewling problems and politics are. There's enough howling in the world without me stoking that fire. I won't take from your provisions, don't need much on the road. I can carry my weight, which is considerable.
He inhales, again giving you the impression of a blacksmith bellows, and he smiles almost proudly.
Many will stand against you. They probably already have, from what I can see. Left their marks, it seems. Like a trail, worming its way behind you.
He stares at you for a moment, his brow creasing. What kind of marks?
Disease? Spirit wind? Both could have touched you, yet here you stand. As for disease, not all of us were close to water when the pox hit. But it's no longer a passenger in my flesh. It left its marks as well. But like flames, the pox doesn't strike twice, nor is it catching.
If your stone mistress allows it, then come on, you snort.
Her? Don't fear her jealousy. Let us see what the road holds, Watcher.
Durin glances at the statue and he gives a loud chuckle. Right, so we have him. Statue of Murgon, goddess of war and flames, dozens of names have been scratched into the stone at her feet, supplicants seeking her blessing. Okay, so we have now 5 people.
Just say
We
the
can
word.
talk to them, but I think it's going to be something to do for another time, though I will just check
Aye.
out this bloke for a second. Olaf looks at you with quite attentiveness. How may I be of service, he inquires. How long were you in Gilded Vale, you ask. He shrugs, fidgeting with the helm of his sleeve. Not much longer than you. As you saw, it was hardly the haven that had been advertised. Tell me about Adria. I have been gone for more than a year now, but I suspect I'll always think of the forests and the fields of Adria as home. With thousands of years of history and tradition behind us, and there's a sense of dignity and responsibility that comes with that. He frowns. Of course, there's Bag as well. Our imperial past is still fresh in the minds of many, as you may have noticed here. Has it been difficult to adjust to dry... I see, you mutter. I shall be glad to return one day, though I'm not sure when that will be. Any thoughts on what I should do next? Well, you're in charge here, and as far as I'm concerned, any place is better than Gilded Vale. So tell me about Adria. How it has been difficult to adjust to the Deerwood. People here are informal, hot-blooded. His mouth twitches in a wry smile, more attentive to insults than to duty, but as long as one avoids provocation, it's easy to get along. He steeples his fingers. I've gotten accustomed enough to keep my thoughts to myself. Anyway, you snort. Well, fine, that's all. Right, so let's quickly glance at him,
Right.
and see what he's got. He's got a Durin's staff. Durin's staff appears to have been made of a rough-hewed shaft of once burning wood. The cracks at the end cradles a hovering flame. While many powerful weapons in Eastern Reach can be enchanted to burn enemies, Durin's is unusual in that the entire force of the quarterstaff can be converted to searing flames at the wielder's will. Okay, that's cool. He's got that. He's got a rod. He's got Durin's robes. Durin's robes is frayed and tattered from heavy use. The lower hem appears to have been singed repeatedly and is caked in the ashes of countless fires. Okay. So that's him. I don't think we can have anything to give him. I mean, I can give him some raw vegetables. Raw fruits and vegetables to give him some endurance and stuff up. Right. That's about it.
You can trust me.
So what's his abilities?
What?
Okay, so he's a spellcaster. Barbs of Condemnation. Restore minor endurance. Okay, yeah, so he can heal people in an area. Right, that's good to know. But that's where we're going to stop for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Cornish-Knight. If you have liked, please press the like button. If you wish to subscribe, please press the subscription button. As we leave off with Gwen, Ravenheart and Space Pig, having inquired some new travelling companions, and hopefully this number of people help us
Just say the
complete
word.
some of our outstanding contracts. I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.